What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shuggy from Shook Earth Media, and today we are reviewing the first episode of The Walking Dead, Dead City. This is, of course, the new spin-off for The Walking Dead, the first new spin-off since the original series had its series finale. This is the show with Maggie and Negan that takes place after the original series, and it takes place in New York City. So right off the bat, those are three things that are very interesting to Walking Dead fans. We got Maggie, we got Negan, we got New York City, a new setting, and those things are, without a doubt, the best thing about the show. I really like Maggie and Negan in this episode. The acting is great, and I think the writing is pretty decent. I gotta say, the setting is just refreshing to see, a city urban setting, and there's an increase in production value in this show. We saw that this is the highest budget Walking Dead show ever when it comes to dollars per episode spent. It is, I believe, the 12th most expensive show of all time. I did a short about that. You can check that out. But you could definitely see it on screen. The CGI looks good. And there are some good zombie gags in this episode. So as a zombie fan, that's really cool to see. I gotta say, other than that, as a Walking Dead fan, I feel that the show and the series and the franchise as a whole is kind of at a make or break point this year. Of course, now that the main show is over, and that show had kind of degraded in quality over time, they have a lot of work to bring the audience back. And with this show being the first step into that realm, I think it's not quite as good as it needs to be to fully revive the franchise. Not that this is bad. I'm a Walking Dead super fan, okay? I'm okay with mid-tier 7 out of 10 Walking Dead episodes. I'm happy with those episodes. I will watch that and enjoy that. And I honestly, unfortunately, I feel like that's what this is. It kind of is mid-tier Walking Dead. It's not the best of the best, but it does show promise. It has a chance to get better. There's an intriguing villain that I'm excited to learn more about, and I'm really curious to see what they do with it. It does have some of the standard Walking Dead issues, where they have villains that don't make the smartest decisions. They do some really kind of dumb stuff towards the end of the episode, and some of the action scenes that just kind of take me out of the show. So that's what lowers it down to mid-tier. But it is, as far as what we're used to seeing with Fear the Walking Dead, this is on another plane. This is actually watchable television. This is competently made. So some decent directing. But yeah, with that, we're just going to break into the breakdown. But that's my review of this first episode overall. It's pretty good. I enjoyed the episode, but it's not quite as amazing as I was hoping for. But maybe it will get to that down the line. We'll have to wait and see. So with that, let's just break into the breakdown. So as I said, this is the Maggie and Negan show. And we start with Maggie scoping out Manhattan. We don't know why as of yet. Of course, I knew going into it. We knew the basic premise of the show. But just as far as the script itself, she's in a different place. Time has passed. We don't know what's happened since then. She's looking at Manhattan, and she's looking through this binocular thing. And I love these city shots. I'm a sucker for it. I like the green goo, as one of my subscribers calls it. I enjoy the production value. I think it is well done CGI. So I like to see that. I like to see the hordes of zombies that she's looking in at. And the only thing that took me out of it, I mean, it's a nitpick, but she's looking through binoculars and it zooms in and out. And I don't think that the thing that she had would be able to do that. Again, that's a nitpick. That's not even really worth mentioning, other than just, when you're breaking it down, it's worth mentioning here. But I like how we start at a quiet scene. It doesn't have wall-to-wall music in this episode. It's a bit more atmospheric than we've been used to with The Walking Dead lately. It's gotten to be a much louder show. In the literal sense, there's pretty much wall-to-wall score, and they don't let the quietness of the atmosphere really seep into the show very often anymore. This is a bit of a refreshing change of pace in that regard. We have a quiet scene, and you hear the zombies, and you hear the water, you hear all the sound effects, and everything really sets the scene there. So, as this first scene. I like the atmosphere. I like the setting. But, it's just kind of a basic scene. She sees zombies come by. She hears them. She hides. Zombie sneaks up on her. She kills it. We've seen this a million times. It's not anything groundbreaking. The point of this scene here, I think, is just to establish how long she's been planning to do whatever she's going to do in this episode. And it's also to show her state of mind in this particular moment where she's smashing this zombie's face in and just goes a little overboard and goes insane. Again, we've seen this a lot of times too. So, but I think it does. It is effective at establishing what is going through her mind at the moment. She's really stressed out, and she's kind of just committing a brutal act here and getting all messy. It seems very unnecessary, but I do like just as a filmmaking thing. I like that we are doing some slightly different techniques than usual, in the sense of they film her smashing the zombie's face in at a higher shutter speed. If you know a little bit about cameras, basically it makes the motion a bit more exaggerated, and I think that really works for that moment. And anytime we get a little bit outside of the norm of what we're used to seeing, and it's effective. I like to point that out because it gets a little stale if you just do the same thing over and over. So here we got the title sequence, and it's kind of like harkening back to early Walking Dead style intros, where it's showing a little bit of the setting. I like the how it's colorized. It is a cool looking credit scene. It does have this weird animation. It's a little bit kind of like the later Walking Dead intros. And, it is cool to have, like, a deer in the city, but, with the amount of zombies in the area, I'm not sure that there would be deer in the city, but I don't know. I nitpicking, again. But that's what we do on this channel, if you don't know. Welcome to this channel, Shook Earth Media. We nitpick stuff here. But overall, I like this title sequence. It's pretty cool. It sets the scene well. And here's the name of the show, The Walking Dead, Dead City. I still think the name is kind of weak because they have the word dead in it twice. The Walking Dead, Dead City. Dead City. I still think that they could come up with something better. That's a nitpick as well. Doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I like the title scene. It's pretty cool. And here we are jumping straight into the rest of the main story. So I kind of assumed that first scene, when I was watching it the first time, I kind of assumed that was like, we're later in the episode and we're going to go back in time and then catch up to it. That's not what it is, actually. That is actually the first thing that happens. And then she's looking for Negan now, because now she needs to know where Negan is to get to her son, etc., as we learned throughout the episode. So we're in a new place. It's a bar. It's got electricity. So there's liquor. There's I'm assuming trade routes involved. And the fact that a bar that's not in the middle of a city or some type of settlement, to me, shows that there's trade routes going on. There's different groups. It's kind of in between two areas where people would be traveling. I'm intrigued by this place. I would like to learn more about it. And that's just what I'm thinking about while I'm seeing it. Where are they getting the liquor? I mean, of course, making liquor is not the most difficult thing in the world. People have been doing it for thousands of years. It's just things that I'm thinking about, I'm wondering, but I'm pretty sure that the writers are thinking about that too. So this isn't a situation where I'm pointing out a plot hole. I'm just saying that I'm intrigued by the presence of a bar, and it's kind of, it's kind of a basic apocalypse thing. We have a bar with seemingly seedy connections. It's a criminal enterprise. We learn later on that they're not even allowed to have alcohol, which, we'll get to that later, but I kind of like the setting, and even though it is a kind of stereotype thing, I do enjoy it. But, we got prostitutes out front, and we got alcohol. It doesn't seem very populated, but it turns out it's like a motel at the back as well. So, I'm intrigued by this place, but just in terms of this story, I'm like, how did Maggie know that Negan was here? So she's talking to the bartender. Bartender's like, oh, we got a guy that's helping us kill zombies. To me, that could be anybody at this point. We're over 10 years in the apocalypse. Everybody's got to kill zombies or you're dead at this point. Unless you're in a well-equipped settlement, like the Commonwealth or something like that. So I don't know how she knew that Negan was here. It kind of feels like some information was left out. I don't know if she's really deep into her search at this point, but it seems to me like she goes to Manhattan and scopes it out, and then comes back here. I think she's in Jersey, so it's not too far away. But it's just like, why didn't she come here first and then go? Because like anytime you're traveling somewhere, that's a risk, right? You might not make it, especially by herself. Why is she by herself? Why doesn't she have an ally with her? We know she's got a lot of friends at the Commonwealth and etc. So it turns out in this episode, Negan, they're talking about the hilltop, and then it turns out that the hilltop is no longer a thing because it got burned down. So all those people moved away separately, so they're not a part of the Commonwealth. Again, not pointing out a plot hole. I'm just saying these are things I would like to know more about. But why is Maggie on her own is a big question that I have here. I know she needs to find Negan. I get that. Why didn't she bring anybody else? Strength in numbers and all that. So that's something, her son got kidnapped. Surely, anybody in our main cast at the original show would want to come with her with that. But she sees this bracelet outside the bathroom. Negan's in there showering. It looks like, or I don't know if it's the girl showering. Somebody's showering. She sees this bracelet. I don't know if I'm missing something, but I don't really remember if this bracelet was a thing before. If she's recognizing Negan with this, but there's some significance to the bracelet. It shows up at several points in the episode. I'm a little bit curious about. But now Maggie gets caught by somebody who's like the madam or somebody who's in charge, played by Michelle Hurd, who is in Star Trek Picard. That's where I know her from, season 3 of that show. So I don't really know exactly, why they knew that something was up with her, but she basically, Maggie kind of faked being drunk and then said she was going to the bathroom and then goes elsewhere. So I kind of like this scene, but this action scene, Maggie getting pinned down and then taking down 3 guys on her own. At least they give her a special weapon. She's got a shoe that has a knife in it, which it's kind of it looks cool. It feels like a comic book thing though. I don't really know how practical that is. It's kind of convenient, but I guess I can buy it. In an apocalyptic world, you would want to have weapons stowed away. But like, how did she activate it? Does she curl her toes and then it pops out? I'm just like thinking too much about it. And then she's getting threatened by Michelle Hurd's character, whose name I don't remember. Sorry. And she's dead by the end, so who cares really? And then she's getting threatened with a knife, and then she stabs her with the shoe knife, and then next thing, Michelle Hurd's character has a knife through her hand. I don't really understand. The knife was at her nose. Why was her hand in front of it to be... I don't know. The logistics of that was a little confusing to me, so some of the action scenes will take me out of it, because I get a little bit too focused on things I shouldn't be focusing on, I think. But, Maggie's the kind of character where I can buy her beating people up and getting the upper hand and stuff, because we've seen her do that a lot. But it just, I don't know. Maybe she should have had a better plan. Anything. Why does she have to be secret even? Why? I don't know. There's something confusing about it. But as she's driving away, somebody tries to grab her, and then a book is dropped out of the conveniently, of course, a book of maps is dropped out of the truck, but it doesn't have the page that she needs in it because she has that in her pocket. So it's a little bit convenient, but I can buy into it. This is, of course, what allows the main antagonist of this episode, as probably show overall, but at least this episode, this is what lets him find where they're going. So it's a crucial thing here that the book gets dropped out. But it does feel a little convenient, But then again, I suppose you would leave a book of maps inside the door of the truck, I suppose. But me personally, I would leave it in the console or something, maybe on the seat. I don't know. Again, nitpicking. But Negan and some girl who's a stranger we don't know named Ginny, which is a repeat name in The Walking Dead. There is a Ginny on Fear the Walking Dead, who is an antagonist. So, I mean, I guess it's okay that we're repeating names. There's so many characters at this point. But I don't know. I would have thought maybe try to find a different name, but who cares about Fear anyways? So Maggie catches up to Negan, puts a knife to his throat, and basically threatens him. And then she basically tells him the situation about how Herschel got caught. And I really love the tone of Negan here, and the tension between them is very genuine. So I like the tone of the scene and the way they're talking to each other. I will say Negan, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, he's got like a raspier voice. I don't know if he's getting over a cold when they're shooting this or something. Something sounds different. I don't know if that's just me or not. But I like the situation. The only thing, okay, so Herschel, Maggie's son, got kidnapped by some strange guy who Negan knows from the past, and he lies about it. He's still not the most trustworthy guy. He's basically lying that he doesn't know the guy at first and has to be brought into basically she has to admit that she knows that he knows, because of the whistle that she heard, the same whistle that Negan did. I can't imitate it here because I'll just embarrass myself trying to whistle on camera. But you guys know the whistle. Everybody remembers that. So that's how she knows that Negan knows him. I have to wonder. I have questions about like why would Herschel get kidnapped in the first place. Again, there's a bit of repetition with The Walking Dead. Like people get kidnapped a lot, but I can look past that. But I will say, just like this whole situation, I don't really know what's in it for Negan. So Negan's getting chased by these marshals, and Maggie convinces him to come along to Manhattan by telling him that she can help him get away from the marshals. When in fact, being with her makes the marshals find him more easily. And it's a huge world out there. He can go in any direction, and it's going to be hard for them to track him down. I mean, I guess they could follow his literal tracks to a degree, but there's a limited resources, right? So I don't know. I kind of, is it really the best thing for unless he just wants to help, which they redeemed him a little bit, right, with the last seasons. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think, what is in it for Negan? I'm not really sure that I understand that. We're driving off to supposedly the hilltop, but it turns out they were relocated. I like this part where Negan's in the back in the bed of the truck. Ginny's there, and Negan takes off a shirt of his to warm Ginny. And it's a small beat, but I like it. It's worth pointing out because Maggie slams the window shut. It's almost like she can't bear to hear him be kind to anybody because to her, he is like a demon, which makes perfect sense. And, it's a small beat, but it's worth pointing out. It's good directing, whether that was in the script or not. Yeah, I like it. So we are traveling into New Babylon, which is where Maggie's people are, but it's also where the Marshals are from. The Marshals are the antagonists. We haven't been introduced to them yet. We'll get to that later. But we see right at in the welcome, right outside the welcome sign for Welcome to New Babylon, there is people hanging. So that's the symbol that we were supposed to associate with New Babylon, just hanging people by the neck. And I think it's a good image based on how they characterize the justice system in this area. So, I think that is a good start there. And of course, they're zombified, so I like that too. So we have this this girl character who doesn't talk, and we get her backstory here about how she hasn't talked since she's found her father in the form of a zombie. I don't know why we need this character. It feels unnecessary, and there's a mystery about what happened to Negan's wife, and she was pregnant when we knew her last. So we don't know what's happened with her. I assume we're gonna find out later. So I don't know why we need the character Ginny though, but maybe it'll come back later. As of right now, it just feels unnecessary. It's a girl who won't talk. So they leave the girl with some of Maggie's people, and then we go back to the bar, and here is our kind of antagonist, the Marshal, who I like his acting. I like this actor. He's well cast, and I like the image of the guy in the hat trying to bring law and order to the wasteland, but they don't want him to be the good guy. So they add this scene in there to show how the law and order has gone too far. And I like this scene in general. I have some critiques of it, but he's looking for Negan, of course, and he says that Negan killed somebody, or he's accused of killing somebody. And conveniently for the writer, he shows up right after they leave, even though how long Negan's been here a while working for them killing zombies. So he's been here a while. He just coincidentally shows up right when Maggie leaves with Negan. I don't know if Maggie told them about Negan, maybe. That would be a reason, but I don't know. It's just, as of right now, it's just a coincidence. He shows up right after they leave, and he's got a wanted sign. He's asking about Negan, and somehow he knows the story of like Glenn's death and the lineup and the baseball bat. I don't know how he knows that. Everybody who knows that is either at the Commonwealth, dead, or, who knows. I don't know how he knows that. It doesn't really, I don't know, it doesn't really make sense to me. And of all the things Negan did, killing one guy with a baseball bat is not the first thing I would think of. It's kind of like enslaving a group of people, terrorizing them, and taking a bunch of their shit would be the thing I would go to. He's like, I don't know, the thing I would go to with Negan, if you never heard of him before, you don't know who Glenn is. I mean, that was all in retribution to our group killing a bunch of his people. So it's 2 people getting killed versus however many people were killed at the satellite station. But that's putting things in greater context. I don't know, in this ruthless world of the apocalypse, I think everybody in this room has killed people, you know what I mean? So I don't know, I don't know if that's really the best story to go for. Just saying he was like the god of this area, he forced people to marry him. I mean, there's a lot of things with Negan to go to first, but, I don't know, I guess they want us to remember the lineup, and for some reason, the madam of this area, Michelle Hurd's character, doesn't admit to knowing him, and I don't know why. Why does she not reveal that Negan was here? He's not even here anymore. It's not like she's protecting him. So I don't know why she would jeopardize her own life, let alone the life of everybody working there. I don't know. And now she's getting threatened at the fence, and this is where the sheriff guy, the marshal, says, you're gambling, you got liquor, there's whoring, all this stuff, and all that's illegal, which, most reasonable people are okay with drinking liquor, even if you don't do it personally. Most people don't think it should be illegal. I mean, I guess that's in American history, but I think the point of this is to show the law is going too far, and he basically accuses her at the end of it, after she reveals the truth about Negan, that he was here. He says you were aiding and abetting, and the sentence for that is death. So basically every crime, the sentence is death, and the judge, jury, and executioner is the marshal guy. So the justice system in this area gone way too far, and they throw her to the zombies. Which, I like the image of the zombies coming up to the gate and all that, but, I don't know. This scene feels a bit like forced to me, I guess. I guess I need to know a bit more about how much power the marshals have, because if it's like just the 3 of them, they must have a whole army or something, because why would they even tolerate them being the marshals are outnumbered, you know what I mean, in the apocalyptic world. But I guess this is a facility that has been there for a long time and people want to protect it, so I don't know, we need to know more. But yeah, now we're dropping off the girl, and we're pretty far into this review, and I've spent more time talking than the actual show, but that just shows there's a lot to break down. So it's more interesting than Fear the Walking Dead, definitely. I'm kind of maybe stalling doing that review next. So the marshals are on their way, and we're on our way to Manhattan. Maggie was asleep, and she had a dream about the lineup and Glenn getting killed. And that's kind of intercut with Herschel's face, and it gives us a sense of Maggie's state of mind. I don't know, as a viewer, like, I'm never gonna forget that. I know about that. Maybe it's in part for new viewers who don't know, but yeah, I don't know. That it's kind of felt a little unnecessary, but that's nitpicking. I really like Negan's parts where he's like, I wouldn't trust me either, and he's like, I can kill you right now. I have what I want. You already helped Ginny and all that. And, he's kind of pointing out the plot hole of, like, I don't know why he's agreeing to come along. But, that maybe it'll make sense later, but I'm not sure exactly what he's supposed to get out of that. But anyways, we've talked about that already. So we see, coincidentally, as Negan and Maggie are getting on the boat to cross over to Manhattan, the marshals are right there. It's a bit of a coincidence, but some time has passed. Okay, I you know, the coincidences has gotten my nerves with Fear the Walking Dead, so I got to point it out. But that's two in this show already. So if we get too many more, it's gonna be out of nitpicking territory and into annoying territory. But one of the marshals is peeing. They kidnap him and take him as a hostage. I like this part. And then we're on the boat, and Negan's like about to throw the guy overboard, but the marshal that they captured, he's scared. So I'm assuming that that's implying he doesn't know how to swim. And Negan's like, he can doggy paddle. Negan's the one talking sense here because he's right. This guy is a liability. And I like this scene. And then we kind of get into the history between them. Negan's like, I thought you kind of got over everything because after that last season we had a lot of time with Maggie and Negan, and it seemed like they kind of moved past their differences, while Maggie's like, I'm never going to get over it. We can never be more than not enemies. You know what I mean? So I like that scene. It's pretty good. And then Negan retorts, how many fathers have you killed? How many fathers and husbands have you killed? And that kind of gets to her, and you see it towards the end. So this is the part we've been waiting for. We get to see Manhattan, and it's pretty cool. We got a cool looking bridge. We got some, cool foggy entrance. And then we see some city streets at night. And this, towards the end, is the best part of the episode. And I really like to see, just how eerie the streets are. And, we've seen a bunch of zombies here already, so we're like, where are they? And then they start raining from the sky. Now, I'm sure we'll get an explanation for that later. I'm curious, how did zombies get up to the rooftops? I'm guessing it has to do with the villain guy, who we'll find out more about. I'm assuming that there will be an answer why it's raining walkers. But I did like that part, and then they take cover in front of this like department store type of thing. There's a bunch of zombies in there, and they have to run. This is part. It is like basics Walking Dead, but just being in a new setting, it feels fresh again, and it's the best part of the episode for sure. And then here we got like a trap that they find that they walk across. So there are people here, and while the zombies are raining down, there's a creepy lady with long hair who is on top of the skyscraper watching them. So I like that bit too. You think maybe it's a zombie at first, but it's not. And then we got a horde closing in on our crew here, and the zombies see them. And then we get like a bunch of insects inside. I'm not sure. I didn't see exactly what type of bugs it was, but there's a bunch of bugs inside a dead body. And then they crawl out. This was something I've always wanted to see more of in The Walking Dead, is more like pestilence, and dealing with natural, bugs and all types of stuff like that, So seeing a swarm of bugs come out of a zombie dead body, love that. And at this moment, that's the last thing they need. Part of me was like, I'll deal with a little bit of bugs. It's better than dealing with the horde. But, I just like adding the tension, ramping that up a little bit. So then we get trapped inside this building. Coincidentally, yet again, we have the marshals, the antagonists, shooting a bunch of zombies. And then they basically run into this building. So, it's a coincidence they show up at the same time, but it's not. Of course, they would be in the same area. They see the boat there. They know where they are. So it's less of a coincidence. We're up to 2 coincidences. The third one, it's not that bad. And we already knew that the marshals had a boat, so they weren't far behind. That makes sense to me. I like it. I'm down with it. So we got this marshal guy making his case to Maggie, like, I don't know why you're traveling with this guy. He says, I'm a father of 3 daughters and all this stuff. He leaves his deputy, I guess, behind by the glass door, and there are zombies at the door, and that's kind of the ticking clock of the scene, as we know that the zombies are going to burst in at some point. But here's where it kind of falls apart a little bit. So part of it's kind of dumb because the marshal's deputy is by the glass door, and really logically speaking, these are guys who've been in the apocalypse for 10 plus years. They should know that, okay, if you are quiet and you aren't seen by the zombies, they'll be less aggressive. That's like a basic thing we learned in episode 1. You know what I mean? I don't think he would just stand in the doorway. I don't know if he stands off to the side where the zombies can't see him. He stands right there, and then the zombies bust in through the glass. He should at least know not to stand right next to the glass. He gets eaten by them for something he should have seen coming a million miles away. So this is the thing with The Walking Dead making the antagonists look fucking dumb, okay? And it drives me nuts. And then Negan's got the deputy, the other deputy, and the guy fucking the main antagonist guy fucking shoots him. I get that he's trying to shoot at Negan, but he kills his own guy. So he looks like a dumbass. He looks dumb, and all the stuff he was saying about justice and trying to do the right thing, that falls apart. But we already know he's taken it too far. But if he had a moral code of ethics of any type, shooting an innocent person, there's other ways out of that situation. So he just looks dumb. And then he basically almost takes out Maggie. And then Maggie's able to turn the tide because she's got a necklace on. And she pulls it off and slashes him with it. That also makes the antagonist look dumb. She could have gotten out of this situation with the knife in her shoe. But somehow it seems like he knew about that or something. But, I get it. I can see he wouldn't want to let her shoo or kick him or anything. So he's pinning her down. He doesn't want to be kicked, so I get that. But he's looking at her directly, and he sees her grab the necklace thing. He should see that coming. I don't know. This is little nitpicky stuff that takes me out of it. But you add up all these nitpicky things, all the action scenes have something to point out. It's just not... It's adding up to being a little bit disappointing in that regard. But yeah, she knocks him out and then decides not to kill him because Negan's looking, which I like that bit, calling back to on the boat, talking about how he was basically putting himself on the same moral level as Maggie, and she wants to show that she's better than him by not killing this guy. I like that bit. But a horde of zombies just came into this fucking room. So this guy's knocked out. I'm assuming he's not dead. Or maybe he's dead in the next episode. So he's knocked out for like 10 seconds and then wakes up right after they leave, coincidentally. But logically speaking, if he's knocked out, usually it lasts a little bit. It would last long enough for the zombies to come eat him, right? At least you would assume that. If Maggie really wanted to save him, she would take it the next level and drag him through the door and close it or something. But, I don't know. They need them to be in separate places for the next episode. I don't know. That takes me out of it. She wants to put herself above Negan, but she leaves him for the zombies to eat, which I would rather be bashed in the head than get eaten by zombies. That's just me, though. I don't know about you guys. Being eaten by zombies, one of the reasons why it's so terrifying is because just the idea of being ripped apart by teeth is horrifying. It's like a really brutal way to go. I forgot to mention that in this part we had a zombie with a rat crawling around inside of it, and I absolutely loved that part of the episode. That's a great zombie gag. It is hard to keep that fresh with how long the show has been on, and I was impressed that they came up with that. I thought it was a great part of the episode. I also forgot to mention that after Maggie and Negan go into the back room to hide, there's the lady with the hair back there, and I like the kind of jump scary thing where we're looking around at some mannequins and then she's right there and blows out the match. I really like that part as well. I'm intrigued to find out more about this character. So anyways, that to the side, we cut to the main villain. We see Herschel here. We know he's still alive. That's one of the questions they need to answer in this episode is, why would they keep Herschel alive? I don't really know why they would kidnap Herschel or whatever, what the intention is behind doing that. I suppose we'll find out later. Negan said earlier that the guy is especially crazy, which, considering that Simon was a thing, is saying something. So we basically have a torture scene, and he's threatening him, and Herschel's has a stone face, which I don't know if that really feels genuine. I think a kid like that would be scared. He does act scared, but I don't think he would be all stoic and stuff. What could he possibly know that is worth torturing him over? And why wouldn't he give it up? I mean, everybody's got a breaking point. Realistically, nobody's gonna survive like at last torture and not give it up at some point. But maybe he's thinking like, oh, if I tell him what I know, maybe he'll kill me. But what does he know? I mean, maybe just the location of where the rest of the people he cares about is. But wouldn't this guy already know that, considering he managed to find where they are and kidnap him? So I don't really understand what's going on. I like this villain guy. I like his acting, and he's missing an ear. I'm assuming there's a backstory to that. I'm intrigued by the character. I like the performance here, and I would like to learn more about it. And then we got a guy. The torture scene is interrupted by a guy running away, and we get to see kind of his true character here. And this guy in the trailer, he was like jumping over stuff. I thought maybe it was a zombie at first, but it's not. It's just a guy who's very was tortured as well. So I like the look of this guy. I thought maybe was a variant zombie. It's not. I'm kind of glad. I don't think we need variant zombies in this, and I don't know that would entirely make sense, because like the whole thing with evolution of zombies, I don't know that it would apply to an island that has been cut off. And I forgot to mention earlier, but the Marshal talks about the history of Manhattan and how the government blew up all the bridges. I'm a little curious how he knows that, but I like that we have a backstory explanation for this, the island of Manhattan. It makes sense. I like it. And then this guy's trying to escape. He's, he's zip lining. That's the word. Zip lining down this rope, and then he cuts the rope at the last second. I like this scene too. I chuckled a bit. I'm not gonna lie. But you get to see this guy taking glee in how far he falls, and the fact he looks over the edge at it. And this is like the next level of Negan, because Negan was like gleeful about the violence he was inflicting, and that's part of what made him so intimidating. But Negan had his reasons. It seems like this guy is a bit even more in that direction of just violence for violence sake. But who knows? I'm curious what's going on. But I really like the setting here, and seeing more of the location, the city, all that is really cool. And that's the end of the episode. So I'm curious to see more of it. I'm enjoying it so far. It's not amazing, it's not fantastic, but I love the new setting. It's refreshing to see. I like our lead cast members. I'm curious to see where it goes. I'm intrigued by the villain. There's a lot going for it. There's all the things I nitpicked, so I would say it's a solid 7 out of 10, which I said, I'm happy with a 7 out of 10, but I want The Walking Dead to be bigger than just me, the super fan, watching it. I want it to be in the mainstream again. And I'm just not so sure that this is the show that's going to do that. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I'm going to be reviewing Fear the Walking Dead next here, so be sure to stay tuned for that. Tomorrow, my mid-season finale review will be up, and we'll be reviewing this week to week, of course. And I'm looking forward to reading your comments and seeing what you guys think of it. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Peace out.